general manager here. Was the snow safety director before that. And over the course of time, I've worked with UDOT and the Forest Service on various parts of the highway program. And the biggest change is the number of people and in the Salt Lake Valley and the demand push for recreation from all those people. You know, it's putting pressure on the ski areas and the highway department. And, you know, which is all a good thing. People want to recreate. It's a great thing to do. And so it's, you know, it's just not, you know, we also used to almost be, you know, this really isolated place up here, and now we're not so isolated anymore. People come into Alta on the highway from on skins, on snowshoes, walking from the north, the south, the east, and the west, and it just puts a lot of pressure on the avalanche control efforts that UDOT does on the highway, and that's part of your push. And several years ago we recognized that this increasing pressure on our military artillery program, which is the essence of the control program for the highway, that all this pressure was in demand was going to putting all this pressure on the artillery program, and that eventually that they were going to cross paths, and so we just collectively, Forest Service, UDOT, Snowbird, and Alta decided to do a plan to decide what to do for the day that we wouldn't have artillery. And that's what we did. And one of the outgrowths of that was breaking the canyon into sections: Town of Alta, Hellgate Superior, Snowbird Village, Mid Canyon, Lower Canyon. I guess that's 5 maybe, but oh, I can't count very well. But so we've been working towards this, making some steps to get ready for that. Started with the Snowbird Village. We put in our first 2 gas hexes on that section of the highway. Plan, as we can get the money, is to put all gas hexes above the Snowbird Village, so we don't need to use artillery there. And then, you know, the Mid Canyon section has got alternatives, everything from snow sheds to rerouting the highway to, that's the main 2 alternatives there. And then in the Town of Alta, an alternative that is talked about in the plan and that we think would work is to someday, if we can't shoot at this with artillery, is to go put a lift to that side and go over there and do avalanche control work the way we do it in the ski areas, and to get some skier compaction on those south-facing slopes as a way to deal with the problem, because we have to deal with the avalanche problem. You just can't let it exist above this highway and above this town. So a couple years ago we just did some preliminary engineering homework on that concept and looked at a lift line that would work to maybe do that. Did a profile on it to see if it was feasible to put a lift there, and, you know, as just preliminary steps to be ready for the day we lose our artillery program, or there's an accident, or there's a problem with it, and that we don't want to be going, well, we knew this problem was coming, but we didn't do any homework to get ready, so we just wanted to be ready. And so it's a UDOT phenomena, but as with all UDOT phenomena here, the ski areas try to help them because it's in our best interests, in the towns, and our public safety interests. So we have been doing some of that work, and, you know, that step of engineering is done, that step of homework is done. We know what we would have to do if we were going to help UDOT go up and do a project like that, and we kind of have that plan on the shelf now. So if we have a problem, we can pull it off the shelf. We don't want to just be creating that overnight. So that's a rough overview of where things are going, but most everything that's going there is driven by pressure from the valley for recreation and by a need to someday do something besides use artillery for avalanche control.